Welcome to the Curmudgeon in the Cellar. As always, we are brought to you by Chris Corsack, buyer and seller of RPGs and games and such, at rpgrpg.com, and Dice Fanatics or Myth Board, or I'm not sure exactly how it all ties together, at let's see what their address is again. You want to go there to rpgstore.com, and then if you're a new subscriber, you'll get a free set of dice by putting in the code word of Old Guard, and all you have to do is pay for the postage and get a nice set of dice. And that's all through the beneficence of my sponsor. And I told you about some other stuff that was going on last time. Now, I do have 51 minutes of the Curmudgeon at Gamehole. I will have it up this weekend. It has been more hassle than I can possibly believe. I did it on my phone. Came out remarkably well for the first time I ever used my phone to do that. But the size of the file is so immense that I can't do anything with it. I can't send it back and forth with anybody through the cloud without buying more cloud than I care to pay for. I just have free cloud, whatever. And anyway, it's all on a stick, and I'll get it all up this weekend, and it'll just be an added little bonus. So tonight, today, tomorrow, whenever it is you're listening to this. Of course, you know by now it's very late at night when I do this. You figured it out. Very small print, so I have to don these while I read the questions. We have some interesting things to talk about tonight. And I got something I got to remember to put down before I'm done. I have all these ideas, and then I get most of them down, and I always forget one. Okay. I know it seems practical and grounded that hit points work as a simple measure of your vitality and spirit in the face of combat, as opposed to flesh and blood being removed from the body. But I feel once you get above 5th level, or you are really moving away from your human vulnerabilities, at higher levels, you become something beyond human. You're superhuman. You can have dozens of arrows sticking you and can survive lightning strikes and travel in the crushing depths of the ocean and jump off cliff faces to fight dragons while racing towards the earth. Hit points just become a different kind of abstraction at that point. When so much of the game becomes no longer grounded in reality, so too does the nature of the character become something beyond farm boy with a sword. Well, okay. Interesting. You say 5th level. I don't know what edition. If you're talking about 5th level of AD&D, the old school, then we can open the old can of worms about nothing that Gandalf did in the Lord of the Rings shows that there's anything higher than a 5th level wizard. Yeah, if that's what you're basing your whole premise on, it's going to be a little weak. I don't play to what, don't take offense at this. I don't play to what I consider are absurd levels. It's, in my opinion, the way I like to play is not in the, oh man, I'm 15th level now, I'm just going to go trash stuff. My fun is playing, getting to 6th level, getting to 7th level. That's where the fun is. The fun is in the struggle. It's much more rewarding to me, whether I'm either side of the shield, when a party of 4th and 5th levels defeats a worthy foe and beats them by trickery or tactics, or hey, even if it's luck. But having 6 arrows bristling out of you, I would say, okay, you got hit 6 times, but you took no damage. Okay, but it's not something that you can't not let it inflict wounds unless you're going to let it stick in some sort of weird armor. That's the way I think about it. Jumping off cliffs and fighting dragons while plummeting to the earth thousands of feet away. No, that's not anywhere I go. I much prefer the struggle of getting from, and I start, if I was to start up a new home-based campaign today, I'd let everybody start at 3rd or 4th level, let them give me a background story, some justification for what they want to have as equipment. If it was a good story and a good justification, fine, okay, let's go. I'm not going to start at 1. But I'll tell you what, getting from 3 to 12, or even 3 to 9 in old school should be tough enough and challenge enough to give you lots of tension, lots of narrow escapes, lots of great tales afterwards or the next time while you're waiting for that last guy to show up. Great stories to tell at the next con. Nah, jumping off cliffs and fighting dragons on the way down and arrows sticking into you. That begins to sound like some sort of superhero game. And there's a bunch of those, and there's another one I know of that's going to be coming out in the next within the next 6 months, I'm pretty sure. And that's not. There's no basis in fantasy literature for anybody that wasn't superhuman, and superhuman and fantasy, I kind of deal with differently. There's demigods and gods, but humans are humans and are always humans. Just my world. It's the way it works for me. Okay, I had to print some stuff out really small tonight. I apologize for the distraction of the glasses. Okay, the next one. I always liked how Twilight 2000 had their hit point system where they had individual hit points for the head, chest, abdomen, limbs. Certain body locations are better than others for absorbing damage. This way, a game master can say your character took X amount of damage to your legs, and now you're at half movement rate. Or your character took too much damage to the right arm, so you cannot use that weapon until healed. Taking too many hits to the head, and your character's knocked out and dazed. Taking reductions in perception and to hit rolls. Well, there's I see a profound danger to this, and it's why I never went that way. And where Jolly Blackburn has great fun with this type of thing in his Nights at the Dinner Table, they're always losing limbs and having them sewn back on. And if you start doing that stuff and you're using a random, no matter how logical, but still random, you got to roll a die or something to determine where and possibly how badly, okay, you run the risk of logically cutting somebody's limb off, effectively retiring the character. You can't, if you just keep rolling the same number on the limb die or however, what table you use or whatever, and it keeps coming up left arm, left arm, left arm, at some point, if you're going to play hit location, the arm's gone. You can't logically say that it held on with, a hunk of bone and piece of skin, because if that were the case, you bled out. So if you want to get into that kind of detail, that kind of grisly, gory stuff, as far as I'm concerned, go ahead. But I believe you have to follow it to a logical conclusion. If you're the one, if you're the meat sack out front who keeps taking the hits and it keeps coming up to the same location, 4 arrows in your left leg, if you don't get an immediate heavy duty heal, if you're going to follow this logic to its logical conclusion, they're going to lose that limb. Do you want to add that element of depth? Do you want to add that much grit to your campaign where now you're forced to retire characters because they lost a foot. Okay. They step in a bear trap that delivers 28 points of damage. The damage, they roll their foot only takes 14 or whatever. So it just got lopped off. And now you're hopping around on a bleeding stump. If you're going to take the one, you got to go the other. And I think hit location, and this is not to criticize Hackmaster because they're into it. And there are others that are into it. TSR tried some stupid Bio 1, I think it was called, when we were fooling around with the idea of getting into space games and ray guns and stuff. I think Brian Bloom and somebody came up with this thing with hit location. And that was a big thing for a while in the early days of the game. The Apazines and the fans were talking about, making it more realistic. And then they realized that, you take 3 axe hits in the left leg and you don't have a leg. Fantasy or not, you don't have a leg, and now you're going to bleed out and you're dead. Because let's face it, you lose a leg with 3 axe blows. That's every, how realistic do you want to go? That's every blood vessel down there just pumping really fast until you're dead. Watch what you wish for. If that's what if that's your bag, if that's where your group likes it, and you like that kind of grit and detail, I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying if you aren't doing it now and you're thinking about it, think it all the way through and realize if you could take the one, you got to have the other. Next question. In the beginning, the 3.0 little books, there wasn't racist class, technically, but mechanically it was about the same thing. Like a dwarf who can only be a fighter is the same mechanically as a dwarf class based off of a fighter. No, not really. Pardon me. I just stifled a sneeze. That hurt. As I've explained a couple of times before, and I don't mean this as scolding by any means, the other races than human had limitations on them because Gary didn't want them to get too powerful. Gary did not want them to be the powerful figures in whether it was Tolkien or Poul Anderson or any of the others, and then dwarves, on their earth magic and powers and that. He did not want them to take over. Gary wanted a game where humans reigned supreme. That was his chauvinistic view. And as there are no such things as elves and dwarves and orcs and goblins and all those other things, there's no one to complain that he's being speciesist. It's the only reason. It's the reason I ignored it from the very beginning on dwarves. It was ridiculous. You're a good fighter or you aren't. And, some of those dwarves in some of the books, besides Tolkien stuff, they were dufty fighters, man. They were bad dudes, small or not. They hurt. Oh, God, and I'm giving you the glare on the eyes again. Well, I got to read another one now. Have I ever looked at print on demand? He's done DM skill, OGS since it. Well, yeah, I thought about it, and we, as a company, Eldritch did print on demand. I believe a lot of our stuff is still available there. I'm probably better get, if there's anything you want, you better get it before it's gone, or contact me. I may have it in a hard, a bound book. I have the remaining stock, small as it is. Yeah, I've thought about print on demand, but I didn't want to retype everything into the guidelines that print on demand requires. Speaking of which, print on demand, another free plug for my buddy Jim, Marvin the Mage, is now available at Drive-Thru RPG. And there will, I think I saw something today online that says there'll soon be a second one. So it's $3.99, I believe, on Drive-Thru RPG. So if Marvin does well, there'll be more Marvins. And I recommend, supporting Marvin, because not only is he drawn by a friend, I also think he's funny. And if I could get J.D. Webster to draw Phineas again, I would. But I don't have the money to pay him for it, and I don't know if he's even interested. But anyway, that brings me up something else. When you print on demand, and I've had this question asked a couple times now, what do you do for art? Okay. This isn't print on demand, but the question and the solution remain the same. When I was doing my self-publishing stuff, Celtic Studios, which I still publish under, Celtic Studios will be selling the rights to these 10 that are coming up. I went to various people I knew. Hey, know anybody that is looking for some work that will work cheap, because I'm paying it out of my own pocket? And I went to a friend whose son was in a real swanky Cooper Union, I believe, in New York. He drew me some really interesting stuff. And then I found a lady in Sweden, and she drew some really good stuff. And I would work out a deal with, here's what I'm doing. I'm printing this many. This is what I'm going to get out of that. I will give you this much. And so the first couple of times working with me, they were working on spec. But, spec being whether I'm a sleaze and I'm going to run out on them, or, if my name's Ken or something in disguise. And once we'd established, trust relationship, then they, continued to draw for me. A good place for a new guy that wants to get into self-publishing, a good place to go is a website called DeviantArt. There's lots and lots of fantasy and sci-fi sites there. You can find others, I'm sure, if you look, and you find aspiring artists. Now, I do not mean this to sound cynical. When you're going to publish yourself, go with guys that don't have a name yet, but you like their style. It's not the best one there, but it's one you can afford. Nobody expects a self-published adventure to have a Frank Frazetta on the cover. Nobody expects that. But if you are going to go with new art, go with a style that's striking, that's different. Never do a yellow cover. It's a running joke amongst the old guard at TSR about never doing a yellow cover. They're the kiss of death. But if you want to find art, that's a way to find art. You can, there are just, Google it. Literally, you can find, but DeviantArt is a great place to start. And a lot of it, you'll link to their websites, and they may have friends they link each other to their websites, and you can go find them there. Tell them what you're going to do. Be upfront with them. If you can make it, a down payment in good faith, make it. And there's two ways to go about buying art. All rights, as we used to call it. We buy the art, and it's ours forever. All of it. It's the only way. Nobody can use it but us for anything. Or we buy first rights. Well, anyway, we get to use it in print. You can still use it on other stuff. Like I own a picture of a tree by a really good artist, and I can use it in print. I'm the only one who can use it in print. But if he wanted to have it put on a pillowcase or something, he still has the rights to do it. Okay, so that's what you want to look at. Go online for legal, finding out the rudiments of what you're buying, and have a signed contract between yourself and the artist. You protect each other. That's the best way I know to go find art. If you got really deep pockets, you can go try raiding them from other places. But you got to have deep pockets. Well, not as deep as they should be, because a lot of the art deserves more, but this business works on such a thin margin that the artists get as much as they can. Certain artists make a little more because their style is the style of that publishing house. That's the way you find art. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, yeah, I went all in on Scythe. I got the game. I got all 3 supplements. I got the board edition so you can play on the other side with bigger hexes. I went to my friends at Ironwind and got a bunch of their the money they make. I got some Viking hack silver ones and some arty farty little fancy schmancy Elven coins for the 2s, and then I got a Roman V and a Roman X, and so now I can substitute all the coins I need out of my set. I can't bear to buy the organizers, so I think Graydon and I are going to look at making one on our own. We'll just see if we can't do it on our own and make an organizer. I can't bear to pay $50 and then another $35 for the expansion. If you have the expansions, I just can't. I swallowed hard enough buying the game and all the expansions. I just can't do it. Cannot do it. But oh my God, I love the game. I got a new driver for my video card so I don't freeze up the game when I'm playing with my friends online. You can play on your own on Steam. I hate Steam, but it's the only way you can get it. It's, Steam rules the world now for playing games online. I'm still a huge board gamer. I did see a very interesting card game, and I understand I'm very late to the party, but I can't imagine that I'm the only one late to the party. Called Gloom. This is Gloom 2, and the rudiments of the game is everybody's got 5 family members. Pardon me, and you have all these cards, and some of the cards are bad things, and some of the cards are good things. And so you play bad cards on your own family members, and you play good cards on other people's family members, because at the end of the game, who has the most miserable family wins. I'm going to study it hard, and we're going to play it some night. And while we're warming up, it looks too good. Let's see, what else? Well, here it is, the day after Thanksgiving, sort of. Depending on when you're listening to this. Anyway, to be honest, or to be straight here for a minute, I had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I have so much to be grateful for. Besides all of you, and not just the subscribers, but all of the game industry that's been so supportive of me in the last 2 years as I had my medical issues, and all the prayers and everything that were sent my way. Thanksgiving, we had all 4 great grandbabies, a granddaughter, a daughter, granddaughter's significant other, a friend of the family who is on his own and had nothing to do, a daughter-in-law, and a cousin of the daughter-in-law who was a real nice young lady. So we had a giant full house. Kids are having a good time, running around, laughing, screaming. And then, they had their cranky bits, but it all worked pretty well. So that was certainly a wonderful way to, to share it, to see um, three generations, my daughter, and her daughter. That was pretty amazing. So, I'm thankful that I still have um, people that want to listen to me ramble, and people that want to send me airplane tickets to come to their conventions and run games and make people laugh. And there's a lot of things, but without getting maudlin or anything, I guess I'm most thankful for the lady that's stood by my side for 48 years now and put up with my shenanigans. All right, segue. Shenanigans. My next shenanigans won't be until Total Confusion Convention in February in Massachusetts. Legal Pod. Can't wait to go. Oh boy. And then after that will be Gary Con. And that's a long ways away. So I won't be worrying about it. And I promise I will get up the Curmudgeon Goes to Game Hole as soon as I can this weekend. So you'll have a little bonus to watch and to throw darts at. And on that note, I'll say good night. Good night.